€222 million. One player, two clubs destroyed. On August 3, 2017, Paris Saint-Germain activated Neymar's release clause at Barcelona and completed the most expensive transfer in the history of professional sport. The fee was so large that it didn't just break the world record, it doubled it. The previous record was $105 million. PSG paid $222 million in a single transaction, and the entire football world stopped to watch what would happen next. What happened next is that both clubs fell apart, not one. Both. The club that sold the player and the club that bought him. The club that received the money and the club that spent it. In 9 years since that transfer was completed, neither Barcelona nor PSG has achieved what it was supposed to achieve, and the wreckage is still visible today. A start with Barcelona. Before Neymar left, Barcelona were the best team on earth. The MSN front three of Messi, Suarez and Neymar had scored 364 goals across 2 seasons. They won the treble in 2015. They had the best player in the world, the best young attacker in the world, and a system that every club in Europe was trying to replicate. Losing Neymar didn't just remove a player, it ripped a limb off the team. And Barcelona's response to losing that limb is one of the worst financial decisions any football club has ever made. They panicked. Within a month of Neymar leaving, Barcelona signed Ousmane Dembélé from Borussia Dortmund for €120 million. In January 2018, they signed Philippe Coutinho from Liverpool for €142 million. In the summer of 2019, they signed Antoine Griezmann from Atletico Madrid for €120 million. 3 signings, over €380 million. Every single one of them was supposed to replace Neymar. None of them did. Dembélé got injured on his first league start and missed 4 months. His first 3 seasons were defined more by time in the medical room than time on the pitch. Coutinho showed flashes early on but never fit the system and was loaned to Bayern Munich within 2 years. Griezmann looked lost from the day he arrived, playing out of position in a team that didn't know how to use him, and was eventually shipped back to Atletico on loan to get his wages off the books. Barcelona didn't just fail to replace Neymar, they spent nearly double what they received for him trying to do it, and ended up with nothing. The wage bill exploded. Messi, Busquets and Alba were all given massive contract extensions to keep them happy during the chaos. By 2021, Barcelona's debt had surpassed €1.3 billion. €1.3 billion. The club that had won the Champions League in 2015 was now so financially broken that when Messi's contract expired, they couldn't afford to re-sign the greatest player in their history. Messi left for PSG. The man who had defined Barcelona for 2 decades walked out of a press conference in tears because the club couldn't pay him. And then there was the 8-2. In August 2020, Barcelona faced Bayern Munich in the Champions League quarter-final. Bayern destroyed them, 8-2.
Goals, and here's Coutinho, and he's got another one.
This is ridiculous.
It's 8.
The most humiliating result in Barcelona's European history. But the detail that made it unbearable wasn't the scoreline. It was who scored 2 of Bayern's goals. Philippe Coutinho, the player Barcelona had bought for €142 million using the Neymar money. He was on loan at Bayern that season. He came on as a substitute, scored twice against the club that had spent a fortune on him, and celebrated. A player purchased with the Neymar money literally came back and put the final nail in Barcelona's coffin. You couldn't write it. Nobody would believe the screenplay. Now look at PSG. They paid €222 million for one reason and one reason only: the Champions League. PSG had the league title, they had the domestic cups, they had the money, the stadium, the brand. The one thing they didn't have was the Champions League, and Neymar was supposed to deliver it. He never did. In 2018, Neymar fractured his metatarsal in February and missed both legs of the round of 16 against Real Madrid. PSG lost. In 2019, Neymar was injured again and missed both legs against Manchester United. PSG blew a 2-goal first leg lead and lost on away goals. In 2020, the 1-year Neymar was fit for the knockout rounds. PSG reached the final in Lisbon. They lost 1-0 to Bayern Munich. Neymar cried on the pitch. In 2022, PSG led Real Madrid 2-0 on aggregate in the round of 16 before Karim Benzema scored a 17-minute hat-trick to knock them out. Neymar was on the pitch for that collapse. He watched it happen in real time. The pattern was always the same. Either Neymar was injured when it mattered, or PSG collapsed when the pressure peaked. The €222 million investment was supposed to be the difference between domestic dominance and continental glory. Instead, it became the most expensive lesson in football history. You cannot buy the Champions League. You can buy the best player available. You can break every transfer record. You can construct a squad that looks unbeatable on paper. But the Champions League demands something that money alone has never been able to produce. And PSG with Neymar never found it. By 2023, Neymar was gone, sold to Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. His time at PSG ended not with a Champions League trophy, but with a quiet exit to a league that most football fans couldn't name 3 teams from. 7 seasons, 0 Champions Leagues, €222 million for a project that produced exactly the same number of European trophies as the 7 seasons before he arrived. Here's what makes this transfer different from every other failed deal in football history. In most cases, one club wins and the other loses. Real Madrid bought Cristiano Ronaldo and won 4 Champions Leagues. Manchester United lost Ronaldo and declined. The transaction had a winner and a loser. The Neymar transfer had no winner. Barcelona received the money and destroyed themselves spending it. PSG paid the money and never got what they paid for. Both clubs entered the deal in positions of strength. Both clubs left it weaker than they started. And the strangest part of the entire story is that the club that benefited the most from the Neymar transfer wasn't Barcelona or PSG, it was Liverpool. When Barcelona panicked and paid $142 million for Coutinho, Liverpool took that money and reinvested it across the squad. They'd already signed Mohamed Salah for $34 million. With the Coutinho windfall, they signed Alisson Becker and completed the Virgil van Dijk deal. Within 18 months, Liverpool had won the Champions League. Within 2 years, they'd won the Premier League for the first time in 30 years. The club that wasn't even part of the original transfer ended up winning more than either of the 2 clubs that were, €222 million. One transfer. Barcelona lost Messi, lost their financial stability, and spent years trying to recover. PSG lost the Champions League race, lost Neymar to Saudi Arabia, and spent years wondering what might have been. And somewhere on the other side of the transaction, Liverpool won everything. The most expensive transfer in the history of football didn't create a winner. It created 2 losers and 1 bystander who walked away with all the trophies.